How's it going, guys? ZDEyE here. So in this video I will be doing a comparison between Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. In here I actually will be using two different gameplays from both of these games. Now the gameplay for the comparison I will be using that was just recently revealed from the EA Play 2019 for the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I will also be using the very first time gameplay that we got to see from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. So the reason to this, why I'm using those clips and nothing else, is because Jedi Fallen Order just recently got its first look to its proper raw gameplay and how it works, and how I have decided to use the very first gameplay footage from the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice to make it more fair. Now I understand that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice was revealed about, 2 years prior to its release, so it's, the developers got more time to work on their game, but this is not much of an argument because both of these games were in their alpha states. So let's begin. First, I wanted to reference the Traversal movement, and now if we take a look at the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, you can already see that it's much faster in the comparison of Jedi Fallen Order, and yet also, I would say, more realistic, to please more of the realism appeal anyway. Because already we know that we can jump, in fact double jump, while playing Jedi Fallen Order. Now that is something that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice does not have, but it had far more robust movements, such as the ability to use grappling hook to traverse to get to the different areas or maybe higher grounds. The world and how everything looks, right? Jedi Fallen Order looks beautiful. It runs on Unreal Engine 4, so it's already given that there's going to be far less bugs and glitches. Now, back on track, the scale and the colors of the world is far less meaningful, vibrant, compared to the Sekiro. Now, we see in Sekiro world and such as the forest surrounding by the trees, so you would need to show a lot of the natural colors and present of a breathing world. Now that is Sekiro does not bother to show, and instead more of a horror, greedy, dark tone, and I think it's bloody awesome. Not to say that the world in Jedi Fallen Order is not like a playground of itself. You could see that from as we get to use our force abilities to pull the trees ropes towards us and use as a Tarzan swing to get to a particular section or the next area. In Sekiro, there's no means of roaming section. To get from point A to point B, so we can walk, run, climb, and use rooftops with the grappling hooks. Now, talking about that, climbing is another feature that Jedi Fallen Order and Sekiro Shadows Die Twice have. So Sekiro, as mentioned, you can use grappling hooks that you can use to hatch on to nearby indications that you can get there. But in a Jedi Fallen Order, you are climbing some metal walls that includes a bit of a puzzle element, so you can, progress into the world. The wall running capabilities is pretty cool as well, feature that doesn't seem to be able to get no wrong, and still looks pretty good. It looks good. Now, also in Jedi Fallen Order, Cal can open up sections routes while using his force abilities to blast through the walls or make a bridge. Sekiro, you use the world as you explore, right? To find out different routes, secret encounters that you sometimes would never even expect it. In the combat in itself is both a strategic and patient move, would definitely be an requirement in a Jedi Fallen Order. You can see that the combat and use of your lightsaber is far more sporadic and yet very flashy. I actually kind of like that. Now in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the combat is far more focused and realistic, to the point that the From Software developers put a lot more time and effort into polishing up the combat. In Sekiro, an ability to use your katana, and yet also an axe to break the shields off the opponents, firecrackers to distract the enemies, and far more. And well, it is to wait to see as well what does Jedi Fallen Order has and similarities to this as well. The result is fast and fluid, but still strategic and rewarding in equal measures, but I will definitely say that the satisfaction levels are far higher and robust in a Sekiro, especially pulling off the finishing moves. Now mini-bosses battles is not really shown off here in Jedi Fallen Order, as we can see that Cal was able to defeat a giant spider in one finisher move. Yet Sekiro is without a doubt fantastic. Now we can talk about the relation of the Purge Troopers, as they are some sort of the, mini-bosses. In relation to them, they seem identical to each other, and every Purge Trooper and has, I don't know, maybe has no variety? Well, this is extremely subjective, I could be very wrong as well. Now, they seem like they were able to counter your force abilities, such as pull and push, as they have used their weapons to stop the force movements and counters. They're fast, versatile, and you have to anticipate and perhaps predict these movements. Well, we need to see more in a variety of differentiations that they have. And I really want to see how we will be able to face ATST. Now that would be pretty epic. Cal seemed like to have a variety of force abilities. I will describe them. One was pull, as you were able to pull an enemy towards you, enabling you to actually finish off the enemy quickly. The other is push. Simply use the force to push the enemy away from with force or force open the walls. Recall, I believe it is what you throw a lightsaber and you are able to call it back with force ability. Double jump, as this enables you to jump again while in the air using the force. Time manipulation, an ability to stop time for a period of time the individual enemies or environments. A leap, that seemed like enables you to quick dash up right up to the enemy, unexpectedly make the first quick movement on them. Well, there are different variations of combat as well, such as the ability to deflect lasers, sometimes deflect them right back at the killing at the enemy. There's also varieties of dodges, small and big, one for the better counter, the other that you will need to get away from because the impact might be too great or you are unable to counter that one specific attack. Now, of course, you can also jump and double jump, so this would be interesting to see how different of the varieties that you will be able to pull off during the combat. You can also lock on the individual enemies, and perhaps you don't. Similarly, you can do that with the Sekiro. Now, of course, it seems like we're able to acquire skills. By leveling out, as we take our tougher and more opponents, so will this mean that we can unlock more combinations of attacks and abilities, similarly to the Sekiro? Speaking of Cal's The Force, what's also strange is that considering Cal never finished his Jedi training, he's so adept at using the Force. In the gameplay, Cal is consistently freezing enemies and blaster fire and their tracks and tossing enemies around like ragdolls. Unless there's some very good explanation for this that Respawn hasn't told us about. Cal's incredibly adept use of force without reaching the end of his training doesn't make much sense, or perhaps maybe it was further down the game, and I do believe it was up to like 3 hours after they begun, that Cal was able to learn and able to master the techniques. And while their relation feels mismatched at times, see an untrained Jedi that's super powerful and has no moral qualms killing enemies, and everywhere to anywhere. Yet Sekiro is extremely patient, precise, and efficient, and always have to be 1 or 2 steps in front of their enemies' anticipations. This stealth, I wanted to mention, is missing in Jedi Fallen Order. But Sekiro in fact does have it and enables you to land one-hit kills on the specific enemies, if successful of course. Let's talk about the buddy system. As we know, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice does not have any sorts of the buddy system, as we rarely get accompanied together on the journey, as this story is solely about you and your master. Of course, there's more to it. Well, in regards in Jedi Fallen Order, Cal accompanied by a little droid named BD-1, also known as Buddy Droid 1. He will be supplying with limited health recoveries, opening the doors, and of course, more. Now, I obviously did not provide every single thing that come from the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice as a comparison's sake. We are mostly talking about what we saw from the very first gameplay footages from both of these games. And already you could see that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice far surpasses in pretty much in every way that Jedi Fallen Order tried to do. Because Sekiro Shadows Die Twice gameplay was impactful and thoughtful, yet Jedi Fallen Order was here for the sake of being here just to show off the gameplay, and that's all. Like I said, that there's a lot of the features missing in Sekiro that Jedi Fallen Order has, but considering everything that Sekiro and Jedi Fallen Order has, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice far leaps ahead. Either way, this will indeed be a fun game to play and experience, but this is still a wait to see more of a sort of scenario. And we're more skeptical due to the name, well, EA. I do trust Respawn Entertainment Studios, but we do not know how much EA had their hands in this game. In fact, even if we will ever know, or maybe they simply could be lying about. Again, we are talking about EA here. I understand that Respawn said that EA had no part in this game at all. What if that the Respawn could have signed a contract with EA to make sure that they say these exact words? Well, anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe, and tell me down in the comments which is more of your preferred game. Have an awesome day, again, see ya.